can you give us the story on Mark Carney? Is it over now?
I haven't had any conversations with Mark Carney myself. What I did say is when the Prime Minister asked me to be the Finance Minister, he told me that I was going to be the Finance Minister in his government until the next election. I was going to be the Finance Minister to present the next budget, and 2025 will be an election year. So that's the work that I'm doing. And again, I wasn't part of any conversations with Mr. Carney, but Mr. Carney isn't about to become Canada's Finance Minister in the short term. The Prime Minister asked me to start that work and to get ready for a budget in the spring.
So that's Dominic LeBlanc, who is the current finance minister. My question as I listen to that clip again is, if you haven't spoken to Mark Carney, how do you know that Mark Carney has no interest in taking the... Something in there doesn't add up to me. Hang on. Dimitri Soudas is a former director of communications for Stephen Harper. He's also a political commentator who joins us on Thursday afternoons. Our feature brought to you by Guaranteed Industries. They're a Lennox Premier dealer. Keep you nice and warm right through the winter. So give them a call. Make sure your system is up to snuff. 514-342-3400 or online, guaranteedindustries.com. All right. So, Dimitri, let's start with what you just heard from Dominic LeBlanc and the whole Mark Carney saga. What's going on here as far as you're concerned?
What a mess. What a hot mess. Monday was truly a historic day. Literally, the government of Canada did not know who the finance minister is. A bombshell of a resignation by Chrystia Freeland. The government was left scrambling for 5 hours, not knowing who's the finance minister, not knowing if a fiscal economic update would even be tabled. It was initially offered to François-Philippe Champagne. François-Philippe Champagne, who said, "Thank you, but no thank you. I will not be jumping into this." And Dominic LeBlanc, who is a loyalist, a longtime friend, and I would say one of the most competent ministers in this government, rose to the challenge and said, okay, well, I don't have a finance background, but what the heck? I'll become the finance minister. I will table the fiscal economic update. I will announce a record-breaking deficit of $62 billion. And why did Dominic LeBlanc make those comments yesterday to a New Brunswick newspaper? Well, because the Prime Minister asked him to. And why did the Prime Minister ask him to do that? Because he's shuffling his cabinet tomorrow. The Prime Minister has not addressed this issue directly with Canadians since Monday. He spoke to party donors on Monday night. He spoke to party staff during the Christmas party on Tuesday night. And it's as if everything was great. All he had to say was, you know what, families sometimes, they argue during the holidays, but everybody sits around the turkey, the dinner table, everybody enjoys their turkey, and life goes on. The big question is Justin Trudeau going to resign? And to be honest with you, I don't think anybody really has that question right now. Is he going to resist the mounting pressure? Tomorrow he's shuffling his cabinet. It's going to be at 11:30 in the morning. We can expect anywhere between 10 and 12 new ministers, and what I mean by that is existing ministers will move around. There might be some new faces, and by new faces, from the caucus. Nobody from the outside, the way Chrétien brought in Stéphane Dion and Pierre Pettigrew back in the 90s, or the way that Mark Carney was supposed to step into the job on on Tuesday or Wednesday, after Chrystia Freeland would have tabled the $62 billion deficit fiscal update, and then Trudeau would have fired her. What a mess.
So what a mess, I guess, is fair. I'm not taking sides here. Yeah, it was a rather chaotic day, and I will give Pierre Poilievre points. I rarely do, but I will when he stood up in the House and went, I have a question for the finance minister. Who are you? I thought that was actually pretty funny. In the meantime, so Dimitri, let me touch on a couple of things here. Number one, we've had radio silence. Basically, it'll be 4 days by the time he announces his cabinet shuffle tomorrow. And we've also not heard any reaction, other than from Jean Charest, of all people, to Donald Trump's 3 a.m. tweet, again, going on about Canada, 51st state, the governor, and blah, and then, going on about as well, a lot of Canadians would welcome that. I mean, to let that go without any kind of reaction or response from this government seems to me to be a mistake. Is it, in your opinion?
Well, they're governing from a bunker. They are in a position of weakness. And yes, tomorrow there will be a cabinet shuffle. Aaron, I ask you to not hold your breath on the Prime Minister actually going to the podium and answering questions. I ask you to not hold your breath for the Prime Minister to go to the podium and speak to Canadians and say, you know what, here's what happened on Monday. Here's what we're doing to put things back on track. Here's what I'm focused on, because between now and January the 20th, the real threat and the real impact of 25% tariffs on the Canadian economy. We will be addressing it. Listen, on Donald Trump, there's some Canadians that approve his agenda. There's others that are skeptical about it. He's currently trolling the Prime Minister because the Prime Minister is at an all-time low in the polls, because the Prime Minister is not in a position of strength but a position of weakness.
Yeah, he's trolling him because he's trollable, right?
Exactly.
Bottom line.
Exactly. And you know what? Whether it's Justin Trudeau or Pierre Poilievre, if we actually had an election and Canadians issued a verdict as to who they want to lead this country, whether it's Justin Trudeau or Pierre Poilievre, they could very easily turn to Donald Trump and say, we just had an election just like you did. I just got a strong mandate for Canadians. Here's what we're going to do. On the substance, it's hard to disagree with Donald Trump on the border. On the trade deficit, that he keeps hammering that there's a $100 billion trade deficit. Yeah. There's arguments to be made there. And the first question I would ask President Trump, or I would advise the Prime Minister to ask President Trump, is what is it exactly that you would like for Canada to sell you less of? Is it oil? Is it energy? Is it natural gas? Is it electricity? Is it aluminum? Is it steel? What is it that we sell too much of? And we'll stop selling it to you.
Okay, and I get what you're saying. I mean, the other part of that story is, they're not, this idea about $100 billion, it's just simply not real. If the U.S. is buying stuff from Canada and paying a particular price and they add a tariff on that, right? It's not the people who sell who will be adding who will be footing the bill. It's the people they sell it to who will have to mark it up to sell it to eventually to the consumer. I don't understand how that's a winning position.
Well, he does have, unlike a conservative Republican president, the U.S. administration, and it's the same under Joe Biden, by the way, make no mistake, and the same threat could have been real under Kamala Harris. American administrations and American governments have become extremely protectionist. So the objective of a tariff is to dissuade Americans from buying from Canada and making it in America. Whether you want to call it the Buy America Clause, which the Obama administration brought in, or the Make America Great Again mantra of Donald Trump. They basically, what they're saying is, why can't we do it ourselves?
Yeah, but the problem with that, you can say that as long as you want and wave the flag. The problem is you can't build a business in the blink of an eye just because you're saying we should be making this here. It will take years and years for that to happen. And in the meantime, the stuff that you're buying from Canada or Mexico or anywhere else is simply going to cost Americans more. What am I missing here? Because to me, that seems pretty obvious.
Well, what you're missing right now is, Aaron, you're making forceful arguments that make sense that our government isn't.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you for that, Dimitri. Okay, look, we're going to have to wait till tomorrow morning. You said it's at 11:30. We'll find out what happens. I'm kind of, upset or bothered by the fact that, and you're probably right, that's what everyone else I've heard today said as well, we will get nothing more from the Prime Minister tomorrow than, hey, here's who I'm appointing in these cabinet shuffle positions. And everything else that's happened this week, addressing the Chrystia Freeland issue or anything else, will be nothing, will be radio silence. It's as if it never happened. That's what you're thinking will happen?
And yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking is going to happen. That's what I'm saying it's going to happen, to be more blunt. And you know what I'm upset about, Aaron? I'm upset about the fact that everybody's talking about, well, Parliament has risen, everybody's going on their Christmas vacation, ministers are planning their summer their Christmas vacation. I want to see if Justin Trudeau is going to go down south again this winter, because the reality is, and I'm not here to speak on behalf of Pierre Poilievre or anybody else, the reality is food banks, the lineups are out of control. People are worried about their jobs. Things are not going well, regardless of who's governing this country. So I certainly hope the government is going to take the time over the holidays to not go on a Christmas vacation and actually govern, because this week, the last thing they did was govern.
All right. I guess that's where we'll leave it, and we'll see what happens. You want to take a guess on any of the appointments tomorrow?
I don't, because I don't know any of them yet.
Okay. Who do you think becomes Deputy Prime Minister?
It's irrelevant. It's not a ministry. It's not a portfolio. What I'd like to see is who's going to be Foreign Affairs Minister. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see Mark Miller stay on as Immigration Minister. I'd like to see a serious Public Safety Minister. Why? Well, because the border issue is obviously out of control. On key portfolios, which is public safety, immigration, finance, those are the key portfolios where in the next 30, 60, 90 days, those ministers will have to be able to do heavy lifting, not just drive around in limos.
By the way, you first mentioned foreign affairs minister. Is that a suggestion that you don't think Melanie Joly will get to keep that job?
No, it's a suggestion that I don't think she should keep that job. I think that with everything that's happening, whether it's Israel, whether it's Ukraine, and obviously diplomatic relations between Canada and the U.S., I think we need a strong minister there.
And she's not that minister?
Not in my view. I think that, and again, all I can judge it by is public interventions, what the foreign minister says, what it means, how it's interpreted, and how forceful it is at times. And again, with the utmost respect, I know she's hardworking. I know she's very political. But foreign minister at a time where there are two wars, at a time where diplomatic relations with the U.S. matter, you need somebody who can walk into a room and people turn around.
Okay. Last thing before I let you go, I want to discuss what happens if we can play this through, because we're not going to see the House sit again until the end of January, right? Let's say that Justin Trudeau does not, between now and then, decide to resign. Okay, he's going to stay on. We've heard Jagmeet Singh say just a day or two ago, if Justin Trudeau is still the leader of the Federal Liberal Party, he cannot vote with the government anymore. Do you feel that will happen?
No, I don't, because I can't rely on Jagmeet Singh to do anything else other than look at the polls, look at his electoral chances. I think if I had to say what's right for the country, and again, I'm putting partisan politics to the side, I think the Prime Minister, between now and when the House comes back, should step down. He should prorogue Parliament, allow his party to choose a new leader. That new leader comes in with a speech from the throne and budget. And I will even tell you, here's who I think should lead the Liberals into the next election, Dominic LeBlanc. He's political. He's been a member of Parliament and a minister for 24 years now. He brings a bridge as a parliamentarian with Eastern Canada. He's from New Brunswick. He's fluently bilingual. He relates to people. I think he's one of the few ministers. And again, I go back to Mark Miller as well. I think he and Mark Miller are one of the few ministers that are not stuck in an ivory tower and still have their ear to the ground in terms of what's really happening in the real world.
Okay. Of course, that means he'd have to get up every single portfolio he has. He has more portfolios, I think, than any other cabinet minister.
Isn't that what the prime minister does?
Yeah, you're
have
right.
Every single portfolio.
Yeah, good point. All right, Dimitri Soudas. Dimitri, thanks so much. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you. You too, Aaron.